Ratchets, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl. Yes, like, comment, and don't forget that. Matter of fact, like and subscribe now so that you won't have to forget by the end of the video. I like my braids. Anyways, as you can see down the story time, as you can see down in the link below, this is a story time about girls who want girls. Now, I'm sure you know, as I also stated, this is going to be a roll of backwood. I got some Russian creams. These are a little dry, but that's okay because we're going to roll them and slob until we get it right. I know some people rinse theirs off, but I really don't like doing that because of how you got to dry it off. And then if you don't dry it off enough, then you done rolled it up for nothing, and you're going to have to wait till it dry anyways because now it's not going to burn right. But anyways, I'm about to roll this up, y'all, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to tell the story. So like I said, girls want girls. So some years back, I was living in a community living situation, which I've told you guys on my channel before. Like, I have lived in shelters. It's not a secret to me. It's not a secret to nobody. Yes, I have. That's what I have did. And this was during the time that I was living in one of those shelters. It's going to be way more to the story time, but I figured I would just tell this story first because this is a girls want girls story. But anyways, so I left the shelter for like, I want to say like 2-3 weeks or something like that. And then I ended up going back because where I had moved to wasn't such a smart idea for me to go there. And I ended up regretting it, and I just moved myself back. Now, during this time, I had a girlfriend. Now, let me explain this. I had a girlfriend, and that was like so many years ago. I'm not into girls or nothing like that. Like, yes, a woman can be beautiful. You know, she can be sexy and all those things, but I just don't find anything sexual about other women. That, you know, arouses me like how a man does. So, now that I've said that, let me keep going forward. So, at this time, I had a girlfriend. And my girlfriend, she was living in this shelter. And we're going to call her Big Nay. That's what we're going to call her. Now, I didn't know that, like, me and Big Nay, like, we would text and stuff like that, but she couldn't really talk to me all the time like that because in the shelter, we wasn't supposed to have cell phones. And she didn't even have a cell phone, but I did have a cell phone. So, you know, it was like we caught up with each other when we caught up with each other, which was more than likely via Facebook. But anyways, when I had came back, like, the whole mood in the shelter, like, it had just shifted. And I should let you know that the shelter that I was living in was like a co-ed type of shelter. It was men. I would say it was young women and it was young men because you could go there from the ages of 18 to 25. That's how old you had to be. And you could be male or female or whatever, you know, all that stuff. But I think if you were like transgendered or something like that, I think they would have you stay like in another part where you could be a little bit older, but like you had to like pay to stay there. But I think like special cases type people, like young men that were homosexual but that were really flamboyantly homosexual, I think they would put them in there to keep things from like happening or whatever. So anyways, when I had came back originally, when I was first there, I had a bed, it was cool. Like, yes, I got a bed. But when I came back, I didn't have a bed. I had to sleep on the floor because they were actually full. And when they get full, they don't turn anybody away, but you have to sleep on these little blow-up mattresses. So the girls that I'm in the room with we're going to call her, like when you see me do that, you're just going to know I'm talking about, you're going to know it. But anyways, it was and Long Bottom. And Long Bottom and didn't like me. They didn't like me because of what everybody had said about me, which I don't know what everybody actually said about me, but I know that for sure boyfriend And long bottom boyfriend, first off, long bottom boyfriend liked me openly and like would tell people like, yeah, that's the girl of my dreams and stuff like that, and I love her and all that kinds of crazy stuff. And so much to the point that he has said this to her, like, I love her, like, I really like her, I like her a lot, and that's not gonna stop. He was always very open about that. And I'm sorry, I didn't even say it right. Her boyfriend, like, he tried to talk to me before and he tried to get cool with me, but then he found out that he knew that I had a girlfriend. Like, I was talking to Big Nay. So they knew, like, I was untouchable, especially because of how Big Nay was. Like, she wasn't the type of people, I don't know what you would do for your respect, but I'd die for mine, bitch. So, you know, people just knew, like, just leave her alone. Don't talk to her. Because I don't want to have to get into a Big Nay about talking to her. It's a wrap. So I'm in the room with them, and I, like, eventually, like, I didn't find this out at first, but I wonder, like, why, like, I'm in the room, ain't nobody talking to me, ain't nobody saying nothing to me, and I'm like, and they don't even know me, so it's like, it's weird. But I was cool with that. I really didn't care because I had a job at that time, and I'm like, y'all the ones who got to stay here all day tomorrow, so it don't even really matter to me. Now, let's say, okay, so long bottom boyfriend, we're going to call him in the closet. Literally, you already know what that means. In the closet. In the closet, in denial. That's literally what we're gonna say about him, because that's literally how he was. But like, one day, it's like a weekend day, and I think it was like a Friday, Saturday, and I didn't have to work. And this is a day that, like, when we be outside, they be playing basketball, like, they be doing all that types of stuff. And this is one of those days where we were all just, like, parlaying and stuff. And while we were outside, like, in the closet had came over, and he was, like, talking to us and chopping it up with us and telling us all this stuff. And in return, because his little boo was, like, always following him around and stuff, like, she ended up coming over there too. And we just started talking and chopping it up. And I used that as an opportunity to, like, actually, like, talk to her or whatever. Like, that's what I did. I used it as an opportunity to try to kind of figure out, like, girl, why you acting like that with me? Like, and sure enough, it was because of him and the stuff that he had said. Like, he had told her that he loved me and all this types of stuff. And if you really like somebody and the person that you like tell you that they like somebody else, of course, you're going to be like, what? Especially if they tell you, like, why that person is in front of them and all that kind of stuff. Like, that would make you feel, like, a certain type of way. But when she, like, officially found out that I was, like, with Big Nate, that's when she was like, oh, you know, you ain't no threat to me. Like, you love her and she with a whole girl. Like, that's how she literally started seeing it. And when she saw that, that's when we started, like, hanging together. And I mean hanging together, like, thick, y'all. Like, Big Nay actually ended up leaving the shelter and going off and doing something else with herself. I think she went back to go be with her dusty little ex, but she ended up leaving, and that really hurt me, and I was going through that, and the only person that was down was Long Bottom. We became cool. She had a car. We would go places in her car, like, all the time. And that's when I found out, like, that Long Bottom was a spoiled freaking brat, because Long Bottom's mom was really, really freaking nice. She had a really good job, and she would do anything for a child, to the effect and the point where she wouldn't even, like, she would have never sent Long Bottom to no shelter. And she had even went as far as to ask her mom, like, could in the closet, like, come live with them and stuff like that. But as weeks was going on, like, in the closet had disappeared and stopped talking to me and everybody. Like, I wasn't really trying to talk to him like that, but he had disappeared. He wasn't talking to nobody no more. It was like, oh, okay, you know, people had disappeared on me and her. So we wasn't tripping about it. We like, we friends, we got each other, bitch. Like, come on. So we was cool with that. I ended up leaving the shelter again because I'm like, I really just can't do this. Like, this is too much for me. And I ended up going to stay with my sister-in-law. Now, when I go and stay with my sister-in-law lived far as hell. She lived in Northville. So that was like a commute within itself. So me and Longbottom, we was like best friends, and we had already made it up in our mind that yeah, baby, we're gonna see each other no matter what. So she tell me like, oh, I'll still come out and get you. Like, I don't care about you going all the way out there. That's why I drive. Like, I'll still come and get you and everything. So literally, like, every other day, like, she was still coming to get me. Like, even some days, like, because that's how my schedule is set up. Like, I'll work Monday but won't work Tuesday. I'll work Wednesday but don't work Thursday. Work Friday but don't work Saturday. For whatever reason, that's how weird my schedule was. So because my schedule was like that, I obliged. Like, I literally followed freaking suit. And if I worked Monday, when I got off work Monday, I would go down to the city and I would go to her house. Spend the night, we'd hang out, we'd do stuff, and then one day, she finally said, like, I'm going to see my best friend. Like, you know, me and my best friend were supposed to be doing something today, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm thinking, like, maybe she's going to drop me off, but then she told me, she's like, no, I want y'all to meet, because, you know, y'all both like my best friends, and we need to meet each other, whatever. And I'm like, okay, but it ends up turning out that her best friend is somebody that I already know, because her best friend is my aunt's longtime boyfriend niece. So, boom, I'm like, ooh, this is a blast from a past. We end up chopping it up. That make us all even closer. That make us all even cooler. Like, yes. So, boom, we cool, everything going good. And one day, while we in the car, like, we cooling, we chilling, we at the mall. I had wanted to go to the mall or whatever. And we kicking it in the parking lot or whatever. And Longbottom asked me like a weird ass question. Like, she was like, it was basically of the effect like, how can I say that she said this? Because it's a weird way to say it, but she basically had asked me, like, if I still liked girls, would I date her? And I told her, like, I forgot how we got on the conversation, but I know somehow we were talking about my ex-girlfriend. We were talking about her, and she came to this conversation, and she had asked me that. And I just told her, like, I really started, like, analyzing her right there in that very moment. And I said, no, like, no, I would. And I said no. And I literally said like that. I said no. It's like, you bald head. I was like, your butt flat. Like, ugh. Like, I just, nothing about her. It wasn't me being mean. Like, she was a cute girl. Don't get me wrong. She was pretty. But she just was not my type of girl. Like, her attitude, I hated her attitude. Like, she had like a, like, I liked it for us to be friends, but if we had to date and she did stuff like that would really irritate me all the time. Like, ain't nobody too good to do nothing, girl, bye. Whatever. But, she didn't have a lot of hair. Her hair was short. I didn't like that. And I commented on it. And then I told her, I was like, I don't even like, I like light-skinned girls. Like, that's literally what I told her, because that's what Big Nay was. She was lighter skin. She had, but it didn't even have nothing to really do with her complexion. I just knew for sure. Like, I just didn't like her in that way, you know, to be seeing myself like doing that with her. And then she went as far as to ask me, like, would I date her if that stuff was different? And I just literally, I was like, I don't know. Like, but I really wanted to be like, no, I would not. No, I don't know. No. No. So she asked me that, and, you know, we continued being friends. Everything was cool and stuff like that. And then, like, when we would, like, spend the night with each other, like, I would think, like, you know, like how you sleep at your friend's house. Like, after she said that to me, like, from that day forward, I just started thinking about certain stuff, like how like I was always spending the night at her house and how we was sleeping in the bed with each other, but we would always sleep like she would sleep at the top and I would sleep at the bottom in the corner. Like that's the way I've always been. I don't care who it is. If I spend the night at your house and you be like, oh, you can lay in the bed or whatever, so you don't have to sleep on the floor, or I don't want you laying on my furniture, I'm going to sleep in the corner at the bottom of the bed. I'm not about to lay up there next to you, because bitch, we're not about to be breathing in each other's mouth. That is disgusting. Okay? Sometimes I don't even want to breathe in my own man's mouth. But anyways, like I just started thinking about that stuff going forward. Like I started not trying to spend the night at her house as often. Like I started kind of trying to like cut our friendship off, because that question made me feel very, very uncomfortable. And with that being said, she noticed that. So when she noticed that, like when days I'd just be like, you know, I really don't feel like coming down there. Like she flipped the script on me and she like, oh, she like, I can come spend the night out there with you, you know, whatever. And I told her, I'm like, you know, I don't know. But then my sister in the background like, yeah, you can come over here and spend the night. Y'all always hanging down there. Y'all don't ever want to hang with me. Like, okay, like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's one of them times I was like, but that was my sister-in-law, so of course I can't say nothing, but I definitely felt it like, girl, if you don't shut your ass up. So she like, okay, cool. And then my sister literally tells her, she's like, if you want to, you could come tonight. And literally, that's all she needed to put the pedal to the motherfucking metal, because this showed up ready. Now, I know that my sister likes to talk about people. I know this. But I wasn't even thinking about it when I had really let her come and like stay at her house. So the next day when that night when she came and stayed, that was also a day that I had worked. So I believe it was me. Like, I think my feet didn't smell too well. I didn't go take no shower. I was tired. I just wanted to lay down. We had been talking downstairs, and I just didn't feel like taking my lazy self upstairs to go take no shower. So the next day, I didn't have to work that morning, but I had to work later on that day. So she ended up leaving and told me that she would be back, that she was going to come back tomorrow, you know, she was going to come back when I got off work, and she was going to come get me and either stay out there with me or I was going to come down there with her. That's what we was talking about. So cool, bet, everything is fine. When she leave, my sister, it's like she could not wait. She was like, your friend gone? And I'm like, yeah. She like, good. She like, vacuum my floor. She like, got it stinking up in here. She was like, she was like, why it smell like that down here? It's stinking down here. Like saying like these little types of things. And she was accusing my friend of being the stinking one. And I just was looking, like, at the time I wasn't thinking, like, because I know I didn't say nothing, like, I just was like, and it wasn't because I knew it was me, it's just like, oh my God, like, girl, you always got something to say about somebody. Like, never nothing nice, you always got to talk some shit about somebody. So I was instantly kind of irritated, but I just let her talk her little shit, say whatever she wanted to. But she brought up the thing about how she was like, is she gay or something like that? Like, saying certain stuff, and I was like, that I know of, and I didn't even share the situation that took place because I didn't want my sister to be like, yeah, because during that time, yes, I like boys, but I am very, very leery about bringing my, like, guys that I like around my family or, you know, things like that, because they talk too much. Like, don't say nothing. Y'all don't even know. I don't even know if I like him all the way just yet. And here you is just doing all this. Like, no. So anyways, I end up talking to her, and we're talking, and she's trying to, like, I went to work, but something ended up happening, and I ended up leaving work early. And she knows this because I've posted it on the F book. And she hits me up and she's like, oh, you know, you want to go do this or you want to go do that? And I'm like, I'm like, you know what? I say no. Like, I don't want to go do nothing. She like, why? And I'm like, because I just, I don't want to. I don't want to be bothered today. That's what I tell her. And she like instantly, like, she just getting her like a go mode, like a mode I ain't never seen her in. Like, I knew that she was like this, like how I had got this feeling like she didn't like me and Big Nay being together anyways, because she's the type of person, her friends are her friends, and she always want to have access to her friends. Like, you can't be with nobody else because I want you to come be with me. So I seen her for the first time getting go mode, and she was like, she like, why? What is wrong with you? Like, why you start to act like that? And I just tell her, I'm like, I don't, I kind of just don't feel like it. And I'm not sure why I didn't really feel like it that day, but I just didn't want to. So she had something that belonged to me, and she brought it up. And she was like, I'm telling you, in this very moment, I felt like it was my ex-girlfriend all over again. Like, I felt the abuse just come on. Because this one particular thing that she did, she brings it up. And she says, I'm going to bring it to you. She was like, because, she's like, I'm going to bring it to you. And I'm like, no, you really don't have to. I said, you could just throw it away because I can just get another one. Like, it don't matter. She's like, no, I'm going to bring it out to you. And I'm like, no, please don't. Please don't. Please don't. But she's insisting on bringing this to me. Like, I'm going to come bring you your stuff. And I tell her, like, if you bring it, I'm not going to get it from you. Like, so you could just leave it outside or whatever, because I'm not doing that. I don't know. I already knew that she used to be on crazy stuff. And I ain't got time for it, because I felt like she was going to try to fight me or do something. And I knew if she would have tried to fight me, my sister-in-law would have came outside. My nieces would have came. They would have been ready to, they would have been ready. They would have beat her ass. They would have beat her ass, and they would have ended up jumping her. And I didn't want that to happen, so I'm just like, I'm just going to let her do whatever the fuck she want to do, because I can't deal with that. Like, that's too much for me. It's just too much. I done got stuck, but anyways. After that, I didn't talk to Long Bottom for a long time, because I was just so, like, it wasn't no bad beef or nothing like that. It just was like, dang, like, I can't, like, and she really did. She brung it out there, and she did text me when she brung it, but I literally just did not respond. I'm like, you can leave it outside on the porch or something, and I'll come get it later. And I remember her saying, like, she was here, and what I said, and then she responded to me again, and I just didn't say nothing. Like, I read her text message, and I didn't respond to her, because I'm like, bitch, I told you don't come out here, so if you really did, just put it in the mailbox and go about your business somewhere, like, because I ain't got time. And like I said, we didn't talk for years. We ended up linking back up. By this time, she now has a son. He's so handsome. He's so cute. And she's working on I'm not sure which degree she's working on right now, but I do know that she's in school or getting ready to finish up, and she's actually going to be a freaking nurse. So she's doing good. We don't talk or nothing like that, but just the fact that I know that she's doing cool, like, that makes me feel good. Because while we were living it was like maybe like the first week when I had left or whatever, and then when she had left, in the closet had started like talking to somebody else. Like, he had disappeared, but then he had ended up going back when we had left. And she was like going up there to see him and stuff, and he had ended up talking to some other girl, and Long Bottom tried to fight the girl, and they ended up putting her off the property, telling her like, you can't come back here no more and all that kind of stuff. And they did that when they put her out. She said she tried to hop over the gate to still like try to fight her, but she was like by herself, and she was talking about how she was embarrassed and all that type of stuff. And I'm looking like, bitch, as you should have been, because they gotta come out the gate sooner or later. You could have just waited till tomorrow and caught her, and when they would have walked away, hopped up in your car and got on. But instead, you want to try to cause a scene and do all of this, and you ain't got nobody to help, like. But anyways, thank you so much. Like, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please, I hope that you did like, I hope that you did comment, and I hope that you did go ahead and subscribe. I truly appreciate you, Ratchets, and until the next story time.